Hello! I've been putting out videos because I'm putting an album together, and part of the process of that has been to make custom instruments using Alchemy and Logic from stuff like toilet roll and bacterial spray and seagulls and stuff like that. And a few people have asked me what the process was, so I thought I'd put a really quick video together just to show how I made that stuff work. So here we have Alchemy. In fact, I'm going to reload Alchemy because it starts not quite empty. If you load it up, you get this squelchy pad sound, which uses all four of the sources. So Alchemy can use four different sources, four different sound sources, either synthesis or samples or whatever. So if you go to File, Initialize Preset, that will make it more or less blank apart from source A. Seagull High Squawk 3. There we go. And there are different ways that Alchemy can process the sound when you add stuff to it. The sampler one is basically like an old school sampler. It'll map the key up and down the keyboard, and it'll pitch it up and pitch it down without any kind of timbral processing or extra stuff. So if I do that on source A sampler, you should hear, that's the sound. So it's done the old school sampler thing of it's pitched it down and it's slowed it down as well. It's not exactly what I wanted. I'm just going to go and re-import my sound into granular, which is like a fancier version of that. So it splits the sound into tiny grains and allows you a bit more control over it. So there you go, you can see the waveform. Similar to before. So now when I play down and up, it's not slowing down or speeding up the pitch. It's always the same time. But the pitch is changing, so that's a little bit more natural. Still doesn't sound great, sounds a bit comedy. The two most important things when I'm doing this are these two knobs, position and speed. I don't want it to wobble about too much. I want the pitch to stay relatively constant. So if you use the position knob to get to the right bit of the sound where the pitch is starting to be a bit more stable, and then bring down the speed knob, there you go. That's all right. And then I'm going to play around with the envelope a bit. We can just whack some effects on there. Let's put some delay before the reverb. Put some filters on it. That's a bit better. So you still get the pitch effect, and you might not want to have that in at all, and you can change the speed to, I wouldn't do it at 0, but I put it really low down if you want no variance in pitch. I mean, that's quite cool. I would use that. There we go. That's quite a nice sound. So I'd probably save that and call it Seagull Pad or something. The other way of importing stuff is spectral. So additive and spectral, they kind of share qualities. So again, that sounds very similar to before, but this time with spectral and additive, it's using synthesis to recreate the sound. So it's making it out of loads of sine waves or whatever, which means two things really. One, it's not going to sound exactly like the original sound. I mean, this is pretty close, but with different material you get different results. The other thing is that because it's synthesized, it's a lot more flexible and you can do a lot more with it and have it still sound interesting and high quality. So if I go into Formant, key tracking is at 100%, which basically means if I play notes, they will sound at the right pitch. If you put key track on 0, it will change the kind of texture of the sound when you play up and down the keyboard, but it won't change the pitch. So you probably do want that all the way up on 0. Smoothness is probably good where it is, but that's another one where you can play with it and use your ear to work out where that's going to sit best. But if you put that really low down, it gets a little bit grittier, more grainy. Midway sounds all right. It probably, if you move it all the way to the right, it'll sound a lot smoother, but it'll sound a lot duller. Yeah. So I'll leave that in the middle. So move my speed down. I think that is a good fit. I'm gonna bring sustain right down. I want to make this more of a bell. Quite like that. Whack some effects on it again. Yeah, low pass. Just gets, because some of that high frequency stuff just gets a little bit harsh. See? That's quite nice. And then the other thing is, whenever you play the sound, that is playing exactly the same thing every time. There's no, if you're into samples, there's no round robin. It's not going to sound texturally different or different pitch variations or different dynamics or anything. You can change that by right-clicking on anything really, but I'm going to use position. So if you go to add modulation, and then where is it? There's random somewhere. Yeah, note property random. And then you'll see down here in modulation, that has appeared. And then you change the depth and you'll see in the position knob, your modulation amount. And then when you play, you see that little ball move about. So each time you play, it's now slightly varying the position. Yeah, about 1.8-ish. So that means you will get slightly different results each time you press the key. You can do that with other stuff as well. You could do it with a filter. So I'm going to do the same thing. What is it? Note property random. There you go. And then there you go. That is how you take any sound you want and put it through Alchemy and get something that you can then use in a track.